This is David Block, and you're listening to the Radical Radiance Podcast.
David, I am so excited to have you on the show today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm a huge fan of your work, and I'm excited to chat with you.
I know. I'm excited about the conversation. So our friends have heard me talk about Previnex for months, and I thought it would be super cool to have you come on the show and share more of the story, more of the mission of Previnex, a lot more about the science behind the products, all the things Previnex in this episode. So I'm super excited about having you today. And I would love to just kind of tee us off a little bit with kind of the heartbeat behind it all. I would love to hear what inspired you to start Previnex. What need or maybe gap in the health and wellness space did you see that made you passionate about addressing this? Let's start there.
That's great. Well, it's a two-part answer. I'm going to go 95% part one, and I'll give you the 5% part two.
Love it.
So practically, my very first job, I was a research analyst at an investment bank, and the industry that I covered was nutritional supplements. So my job for many years was to read clinical studies on nutritional supplements, tour supplement manufacturing facilities, meet with investors in the industry, meet with executives of companies, learn the physiology of what different nutrients do at a cellular level. And I became an expert in all things nutritional supplements. And I think that really gave me a front row seat to just how predatory and exploitative the industry really was. And that drove me crazy because on one hand, like there's all this proper data that supported the health benefits of taking certain levels of vitamins and minerals and probiotics and omegas. And quick side note, I was very anti-supplements. I had an athletic background. I was on scholarship at UCLA, like never took supplements ever.
Yeah.
And I just had this negative bias, which I don't really know where that came from. But in any event, I'm looking at all this proper peer-reviewed clinical data. And then I'm just watching the abuses that are happening where, really, unless a consumer has a background in nutritional science, they have a 0% chance of understanding what products are going to benefit them, what ingredients are going to benefit them. And I really didn't have any intention of ever starting a supplement company.
Yeah.
But it just gnawed at me that like, man, you do this right. Like people, you could actually create health in people's lives.
Yeah.
But it's just this very lax predatory industry. And that I think ultimately got me crazy enough to start this. But I mean, the real kind of answer behind the answer is I was not a Christ follower in my supplement day, in my research analyst days. And I was chasing the world and just had total world value orientation system. And as I was pursuing more like the finance investing road, I became a Christ follower, and it changed everything. And I mean, I was praying through like, God, you're real. Like my life is yours to live. Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to go be a teacher in Ecuador? I'll go do it. You tell me.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it would be finance investing related, but I just felt him nudge and finally call me to be like, hey, I've given you this real deep education around supplements and this passion for children and passion for health. And this is where I want you to go. And so that is kind of like the answer behind the answer, because I would not have stepped into that space without kind of my relationship with God and what I thought was his prompting me to go into the space.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Which leads into our next question, because I love how Previnex isn't just a supplement company. It's a great supplement company, and I have seen amazing health benefits from taking your products, and I'm super grateful for you all. But I love the mission behind it. And so I would love for you to share a little bit more about just the work that you are all doing, and how it just shapes everything that you do at Previnex.
Yeah. So our mission is to create health and flourishing in the lives of every single person that we serve. And we really mean that. Like we look at every single person that we touch and serve. So on the surface, like we are making what we believe are best in class nutritional supplement products that promote longevity, performance, and everyday health. And, we're a 13-year-old company. We have, I think, 11 SKUs. So we're not trying to be everything to everyone. We only want to go into categories where you can say, hey, we have the best joint supplement. Here's a ton of clinical data to prove it, or muscle health supplement, or digestive health supplement. But it includes like our team. It includes creating jobs for underserved people. We have our giving back program where we donate vitamins to malnourished children with every customer order. And there's a whole story behind that did not exist day one of the company. But that just was another one of those God nudging moments of like, you're being called to do this. So, we know that creating health changes lives. We strongly believe that at our healthiest, we can make our greatest impact on our families, our communities, and the world, and do our best work for God's glory and the good of others. And so we are all in on our partners, our employees, our customers, the malnourished children that we serve, trying to make an impact on our local community when it comes to health. And we just think prevention is the best medicine. We've seen time and time again, just health transformation and outcomes that keep me so inspired to do the work we're doing.
Yeah, I love it. I would love to dig a little bit deeper. And you and I are both we love data. We love the science behind things. So we could go in the deep end on this for a long time, but I would love to just give listeners a little bit of a peek behind the veil. You are known for your science-backed formulas, pharmaceutical grade standards, all the things you kind of just mentioned, but give us some examples of that. Give us a little bit of more of the science of Previnex.
Yeah, great. I love it. And I won't go super nerd because I can. So thank you.
Because we could. Yeah.
Thank you for calling that out. Well, I think the interesting vantage point that I had coming in was I had been in the industry. I was like a bona fide expert. And so I could see the gaps pretty quickly of if I were to do this, how would we do this differently? And I think it started with, to me, the manufacturing. We had a blank canvas, if you will, of we can design anything we want and do this any way we want. And so if excellence is the standard, what does that mean? How do we do it? And I think we started with, the supplement industry is technically regulated, but not really. It's more self-policed. And so what would it look like to put a regulatory framework? So me as a consumer who is passionate about health and longevity, what would that look like if we applied some regulatory framework to the supplement industry? So it started with finding a pharmaceutical manufacturer. And pharmaceuticals certainly have a place. I don't have a strong opinion other than they do have their place. But what I can tell you is the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals is highly, highly regulated. So testing of every ingredient, production run testing for dissolution, stability, hardness, thickness, finished product testing to make sure that what's on the label is on the bottle. Hugely important, right? For a pharmaceutical, if you're getting too little, might not help you. If you get too much, it might hurt you. And we just thought, well, it's more expensive, but why don't we just apply those same principles to the manufacturing of supplements? That was kind of baseline. We thought that would be a good thing. And me personally, I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
And then what we think is kind of we call the Previnex difference is that pharmaceutical grade approach plus ingredient sourcing. So a product's only going to be as good as the underlying ingredients. And I think where the predatory and exploitative nature of the industry comes in is most people assume that, well, vitamin A is vitamin A and vitamin E is vitamin E. And well, that's not the case. There are many different forms of the letter vitamins and nutrients and antioxidants. And the forms really matter when it comes to creating health. And so we just kind of made a no compromise day one. We will only source the highest quality, most clinically effective and beneficial ingredients, regardless of cost. And then we are looking at clinical data all day long at what are the levels that should go in. And then on top of that, we're looking at ingredients that have gone through human clinical studies in every case we can. So we can make much bigger health outcome claims that are otherwise available. These are companies spending tens of millions of dollars running their ingredients through clinical studies. And we kind of don't care where they come from. We care about the benefit to our customer and the health benefit that products will create. So we kind of like to think of it as when you marry great science and clinical data with great ingredients and great manufacturing, you get products of what we think are of unparalleled quality, safety, and effectiveness. And Rebecca, we have reformulated products multiple times because the science 13 years ago changed, 5 years later, and then it changed where there might have been a 50-50 ingredient. So we're just very committed to science and precision and excellence across kind of the manufacturing, sourcing, testing part of what we do.
Yeah, I love that. I remember one of the first times you and I met, you walked me through this deck that kind of walked through so many of the products. And one of the ones that blew my mind was the omega supplement and how, with other companies, there's a lot of fish filler that fills a lot of those supplements and just the standards that you hold yourselves to. Could you play out that example for us as we're just kind of talking through?
Yeah, I'd love to. So the soft gel, our omega is a soft gel.
Yep.
We have a triple molecular distillation process during the manufacturing run to make sure there's going to be no PCBs or metals by metals, arsenic, cadmium, lead, mercury, which mercury is a buzzword. We know there's going to be some mercury probably in marine life, given
Sure.
some pollution in the ocean and whatnot. But we are doing front end sourcing to make sure we're getting the most like wild caught omega dense fish. We source from like 5 different places around the world to get those fish species. And then in the manufacturing process, we're just using our precision, and we're making sure there's going to be no PCBs, mercuries, metals, et cetera. So every product has we call a certificate of analysis, which is like a finished product test. And so the minimal amount of heavy metals that our machinery can detect is 0.01 micrograms. And there are all these like safe levels of metals, which we kind of don't think. You're going to get some metals come from soil. You're going to get some in your vegetables and whatnot, but we don't think adding more is a good thing. So we test, and we are below 0.01 micrograms of every single metal, which means it's not in the product. And I think the challenge is, as we tested omega products, is like there's heavy metals, and it's like, you get like that fish burp, which is common, or fishy smell. That's typically some like toxicity of some sort, or some metal or some impurity that your like body's wanting to get out of you. And we just don't like. This is where we think the analytical data, the testing is so important, because like, I take the omega every day. It's like, well, I'm not getting even a 0.01 microgram of heavy metal, which is great. I have that confidence. And I think that's really important. Like I'm like consumer fan number 1, because I take the products every single day and want those health outcomes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I want to talk a little bit more about Previnex Gives Back. We mentioned it a moment ago, but it is just such a beautiful part of your mission. And I would love if you could tell us a little bit about how each purchase impacts malnourished children, and kind of what that global mission is and why it's so close to your heart.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love talking about this one. So for context, all right, I didn't know what I was getting myself into starting a company in a super crowded industry. And it was truly this like refining, walk by faith, not by sight journey. And it was really hard. To the fact, like, I give talks on entrepreneurship. I always say the same thing. It's the most excruciating thing I've ever done.
Totally.
Financially, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, et cetera. And so we were at this kind of crossroad as a company. Like, I didn't think we were going to make it. I didn't think I had the stamina. I will spare you a very long story. But the way this program was birthed was actually my daughter, who's now 8 years old. So 2016, she was born November in 2016. And I remember just being at home, holding her in my arm and like looking at her, thinking 2 things. I was like, this is the most amazing thing I have ever seen. It just was mind blowing to me that we had this little life we were going to get to steward and care for. And the second thing I was thinking was, man, there's parents just like me holding daughters just like mine who are going to lose them to preventable things like malnutrition. And I think what was kind of a like back on my mind idea of like, wouldn't it be nice one day if we could serve malnourished children with our business, became, I just felt like, all right, it's time to look into this. And the data that I read at the time was 17,000 kids at the time were dying every day from malnutrition. But for up to 45% of those children, it was not a food or starvation issue. It was a vitamin deficiency issue, meaning you give these children vitamins, they live, you don't die. And I was like, wait a second. I know a thing or two about vitamins. This is a 100% preventable problem. Give children vitamins, they live. Like, we can step into that. And I think, again, like I didn't know if the company was even going to make it, but I walked into the office. I was like, all right, team, we're going to start producing a best-in-class children's multivitamin, and we're going to start donating a bottle for every customer order. And really was exciting for the team, who I don't think knew kind of how close we were to probably not making it. But as God is in the business of doing, he kind of parted the Red Sea and we started to go. And I mean, so the program started in July of 2017, and we've now donated over 4 million super bites to malnourished children in 20 countries. I will say, like, we do the opposite of anything that's predatory and exploitative. Like, we're just so embedded in it in our industry. So rather than just like, oh, hey, we're going to go to Haiti and drop off vitamins and get some pictures, we're like making a commitment to the flourishing of these children, where we're there day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And as we grow, which we've been blessed to continue growing, we just find the next group of the most vulnerable children to serve. And why this matters to me is, I mean, just once you get a taste for the impact you're making, it's just so much bigger than even what I thought the issue was, number one. But I've just always kind of had this awareness that I was born into the family I was born in. They happen to be able to provide food and a roof, and like very lucky that I was born into that situation. And I just have a heart for kids who, they don't choose what family they're born into.
Yeah.
And good golly, if we can help serve children who, it's not even just dying from vitamin deficiencies, but I mean, if you look at stunted growth, your brain's not developing,
Yeah.
your body's not developing. Like, how do you just don't have a shot to live the longest, healthiest, most active life. And it gets into all sorts of sub issues. Like, if a country is chronically poor, how do you get out of poverty if the child base is not developing and they can't compete because of things that are outside of their control? So we're just looking at, like, man, I love children. I'm a dad of 3. Like, one of my favorite titles by far is dad, and just investing in children to help them flourish and giving them a shot that maybe they wouldn't have if we weren't involved makes me really just happy to do that kind of work.
Yeah, that's amazing. That was one of the things about Previnex that made me so excited to partner with you all, because yes, the products are awesome, and yes, the mission behind it is even more beautiful. And so I think knowing that in support of a really awesome brand, you're also getting to be a part of that kind of mission is just really special. So I wanted our people to just kind of hear more of the story behind that. And so I wonder, for some of our friends who clicked play because they know that I take Previnex, they've heard me talk about it, but maybe they're in that place of wanting to take steps toward better health, but maybe they're overwhelmed by the options. As we've talked about, there's like a million omegas out there, supplements that they could take. And do I take this vitamin or that vitamin or whatever? Where do they start? And what products or habits have the biggest impact when they're just getting started with supplements?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Yeah, it can be really overwhelming.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So I think a good place to start would be like looking into gut health.
Yeah.
Our gut, I mean, if you do not have good gut health, it's a likely chance your overall health is not good. And so 80% of the bacteria in our bodies reside in our gut. 70% of our immune cells are housed in our gut. And all of the nutrients that we get from food and other sources are kind of taken in through the gut. And so that's where nutrient absorption happens. So I would make an argument that gut health is like critically important. So a step one could take is taking a good probiotic. So we have a probiotic that's has 30 billion bacteria, 6 clinically proven strains, a clinically proven prebiotic. We get consistent feedback that people, their energy levels seem to be higher, their GI function is better. We launched one of our newer products as a gut and green superfood product, which
I love. Yes.
I had it like 2 hours ago with my vanilla.
I love it.
Tastes so good. So that one has organic greens, but it has 3 clinically studied digestive health ingredients as well that are just powerhouse kind of GI ingredients. The regularity and all the benefits of having a healthy GI tract are there. I'd say too, like a good quality multivitamin can help fill the gaps. Sometimes I wish we could, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, where you can like go in, plug someone in with all the information, and they just know everything and know how to execute it. And
yes,
I'm like, man, I wish everyone knew what I know about supplements. I've been in this industry 25 years now, and where I'm going with this is that it's just not possible to get the levels of nutrients that we need for optimal health from food alone. Certainly from a deficiency standard, like making sure we're not deficient, you can try. So I think a really good multi can help fill gaps. And if someone is deficient, there's just bad health outcomes awaiting for chronic deficiency. So I'd say, like, if I'm going to start somewhere, it's going to be a probiotic or a gut and green superfood. If someone's not getting enough protein, I mean, that's really important for long-term health. So there's a couple different options, but maybe gut health is where I'd start.
Yeah. So good. So good. I wonder, as you think about this journey that you've been on for 13-year-old company,
So
is that what you said?
Is 13 and I've been in the industry 25, which is crazy.
Yes. So wild. So as you think back on that whole journey, do you have a customer or community story that, as you think back, kind of reminds you, gosh, this is why this work matters?
Yeah, wow. I do. So I have a giving back story and a specific
Ooh,
story that come to mind.
cool.
But let me preface it with this. So I mentioned how hard this journey was. It was for sure in the beginning. And I think something I did early on is I wanted every customer review to come to my inbox as just a reminder of like the work we does matter. How can we give up when we're creating health for people?
Yeah.
And that still holds true today. So every customer review comes to my inbox. I love it. So let me give you a customer, and then I'll give you a giving.
Yeah.
So I'm part of a redemptive entrepreneur group here in Indianapolis, and we every year have kind of a lab of entrepreneurial folks that come in, and we coach them, and then there's this big showcase presentation. And so there was a showcase last fall, and I got there early to help set up, and I was talking with one of the entrepreneurs' wives of just making small talk, and she said, "Hey, are you ever going to come out with something that will help IBS?" So I have to be a little careful here because like I don't want to say claims that are illegal in the eyes of regulators. But what I did tell her, I said, well, it's funny you asked this. Like we have a product we're working on, which was the Gut and Green Superfood product. One of those ingredients I was just finishing like the clinical studies on. And one of those studies showed like incredible benefits to people with IBS-C and IBS-D. And so I told her, hey, we've got this product. So she's like, oh, please let me know when it comes out. Let her know. And so she emailed me a month after she went on. And basically she's like, your product has improved my symptoms 70%. I've had the best travel experience that I've ever had because of the effectiveness of the green food. My bloating has significantly reduced. I've been able to digest foods better. And she's just like, thank you so much for letting me know about this product. And like, to me, it's amazing, right? In a way, it's not. We have clinical data. It's nothing magical. It's like, it's led by clinical data. We know the outcomes people should experience. Not to say every single person is going to experience that same benefit, but that was just a personal one because I knew this woman. She was local in our community. She was going through something that was like hindering her life and lifestyle for many years. And we had something that could help her with that, which was really neat. On the giving back side, so we started serving in Haiti. That was the first region that we went into with our vitamins. And the whole thing became real when we got the story back from a little boy named Joseph. So Joseph was a little boy in Haiti, one of the poorest regions in the country. And when our charity partner met Joseph, he had like red-tipped hair, which was a classic sign of malnutrition. And he started taking our Super Bites every day. And we have a picture of him the day we met him, and we have a picture of him 15 months later. And if I showed you the picture side by side, you just wouldn't believe that it's the same boy. So from like red-tipped hair and fair, dark skin to like robustly dark skin, like you can just see health oozing out from him. And it's just like, that's one kid of tens of thousands of kids and hopefully millions that we'll be able to serve. But I just remember that being so powerful to me of like the work we're doing is like so meaningful in the lives of these kids we're probably never going to meet. And I don't know, the pictures are, I think on our blog, if you search Joseph's story, you could see the pictures, but it was like remarkable to me. So it just is a standout for sure.
Yeah. I love that. And that is what we get to be a part of when we buy from Previnex. And so I'm super excited here in a few minutes for you to share more about how listeners can get their hands on products. And I've got a code for everybody and all the things. So before we get to that, I would love to hear like, what's next? What are you excited about that you can share publicly about what you're working on?
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm happy we're very transparent. We're happy to share. So we have a couple things we're working on the product side, and then we have like a business mission thing we're working on as well. So on the probably the less exciting, I love talking about the mission more than the products, but there's a joke in the company, like every new product I think is the best product. I love like, oh, this is so great. This might be our best product ever. So we have been for 2 years working on a sleep product.
Which I'm so excited about.
Yeah, we're excited too. So we have been looking at so much data. This is a non-melatonin, non-habit forming sleep product where we're going to be able to say it is ingredients that are clinically proven to help you naturally wind down, help you get deeper, more restful sleep, and help you wake up more refreshed and energized. And so I'm always guinea pig A. So version 1 of the product, we have a bunch of people testing, including me. And like I wear this Whoop band that you can see on my back, and the analytical data that week was like it was off the charts good. We had to make some tweaks, which I won't bore you with that. We're coming out with,
Yeah.
I don't know if I should spill all the beans, but we're looking at
I
a
mean,
different flavor of Muscle Health Plus that's been getting some incredible feedback. So we're
that's
excited for that.
exciting.
And we have a women's hormone balance product that, good golly, the clinical studies, two of the ingredients of the three are like off the charts human clinical study data that addresses all sorts of perimenopause challenges that women can face. And we're excited to go into testing of that one, because if it does what the clinical data is telling us, like, this will be a massively helpful product for women. And then on
That's
the mission
awesome.
side, like, we're always looking at, like, how do we go deeper into the work we're doing of helping create health and flourishing. So not just customers, not just partners. And so an opportunity we're excited about is we've been talking with a group locally about creating jobs for underserved people that, so we're talking the working disabled, we're talking ex-convicts who cannot get jobs. And this group, their core competency is wraparound programs that help underserved people flourish. And so as an example, if you go to prison, you are, I think, something like 50 to 70% likely to go back a second time just by going one time. And this group, their recidivism rate is less than 10% with these programs. And so we're just kind of thinking, like, yes, you can create health, physical health and all that, but like giving someone a job and dignity and pay, and like, what can that do to create health in a family?
Yeah.
And so that's something we're excited about. We have a Previnex cafe concept that's got kind of like an educational component, but the partnership is something I'm really hoping comes to fruition, and we can start loving on underserved people and creating jobs for them.
That's amazing. I love everything about that. I love it. I love it. And I cannot wait to try both of those new products. I cannot wait when they come out. That's awesome. Well, I want to share where listeners can go after this conversation here in just a moment, kind of what's next. But before we do, there is a question that I ask all my guests who come on the Radical Radiance podcast, which has a heart to help women see what it looks like to radiate the heart of Jesus in all that we do, our life, our work, our relationships, our health. And it goes back to this verse that God continually put on my heart as I was naming the show. It's Psalm 34, verse 5, which says, "Those who look to him are radiant, and their faces are never covered in shame." And so the question I love asking, David, in this season of your life, what about Jesus makes you radiant?
Well, it's a beautiful verse, and I think it's a beautiful question. So I think for me, it's knowing that my identity is fully secured in him. I'm loved.
So good.
I'm redeemed. I'm free. And so I know that Jesus brings light into the darkest places of my heart and my life. He reminds me that my worth isn't tied to success, failure, or what the world thinks, but to what he's already done. And so I think it's that kind of grace and truth that gives me a joy and peace that I hope radiates into how I lead, how I love, how I serve others, and just how I show up every day.
I love it. I love it. Beautiful. Well, I would love for you to share with everybody, where can they grab Previnex products? Where can they go after this conversation if they're like, yeah, that's awesome. I've never heard of a company that held themselves to these kind of standards and had this kind of mission. I want to be a part of it. Where do we send them?
Yeah, well, listen, we would be honored to serve you in your health first and foremost. And so easiest place is to go to our website at previnex.com, which is, it's a funky spelling, a funky name. I could have named it something different, but it is previnex.com. And our products are there. Our blog has a bunch of educational information, and yeah, we'd love to meet your listeners there.
Amazing. And we will have information in the show notes for the coupon code that we have. So go grab that on your first order as well. So David, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful we connected, and just so thankful for the work that you're doing and that we as customers get to be a part of it. So thanks for being my guest today.
Thanks for having me, Rebecca. Really appreciate it.